From the Ministry of Energy, the Deputy Minister, the Vice Minister of Energy from Argentina, from Chile, Francisco Javier Lopez, who I understand is a lawyer by training. So I'm going to be very careful, and we'll be very careful with our questions for the Vice Minister. You always, and he's wearing the appropriate lawyer attire, as we heard from a lawyer yesterday, nice suit and tie and everything, while us quasi-academics wear no tie and everything. He is a lawyer, as I said. He also has a certificate in business administration from Northwestern. He has served in both of the Piñera governments, the previous administration under Sebastián Piñera, in health and finance ministry positions. He obviously has now recently been appointed or has been appointed to the vice ministry post in this current Piñera government. And I understand work administration in public works and the economy ministry. So a very, very, very experienced government ministry representative, somebody who's worked in, I would say, just about all the key segments of the Chilean economy with regards to the government. Obviously, what those countries are doing with internal consumption and demand in the post-COVID-19, that's a key element, and we'll hear from you about how you and the ministry in Chile are managing post-COVID-19. But I think what's critical here is just exactly how on the energy transition, and Chile has become and has been a world leader on exactly those sort of contours of the energy transition, managing energy security as a very limited producer of hydrocarbons, a country that had developed dependencies on the hydro to a certain degree that over the last 20 years have been managed from a diversification standpoint. But most recently, you all have been setting renewable energy targets and, to use a technical term, have been blowing them away and moving past the commitments long before they were on the table in terms of what year and how much percentage of renewables into the matrix. So we look forward to just how much you're going to be able to continue that and what the government is doing, like I said, right now. So over to you, Mr. Vice Minister, and thanks again for joining us. And we'll come back with some questions at the end of your formal remarks.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you and with all the people that is connected now. And first of all, I would like to start by acknowledging to the Institute of Americas, the organizer, and Mr. Jeremy Martin, Vice President of the Energy and Sustainability of the Institute. Today, we had the opportunity to analyze very relevant topics for the energy sector of the southern corner of our continent, such as the challenge that Argentina and Brazil are facing. These countries have a very close relation with Chile, and it has been extremely interesting to hear about energy sector transformation, price volatility, especially of oil and gas, COVID-19, crisis repercussions, and measures against economic recessions. All these topics represents a challenge also for our country. Talking about our region, this virtual meeting helped us to understand the dynamic of the sector at the regional level, and most of all show us how in these challenging are uncertain times, we must not lose sight of the challenge that our sector is facing in several areas, such as the global climate emergency, the performance of the sector in recent years, and the access to clean and good quality energy for the whole population. Chile wants to strengthen its regional leadership in the energy transformation process toward cleaner and more sustainability matrices. Last year, President Sebastián Piñera declared the national target to reach the carbon neutrality by 2050, a challenge that motivates us to work hard in order to move forward toward this goal. We want to demonstrate that it's possible to reduce fossil fuel dependence in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which are the main cause of global warming, according to a 2018 study of the Carbon Dioxide Information Analysis Center. Together with Colombia and Costa Rica, we are co-leading an initiative named RELAC, which was launched at the COP25 during the Energy Day, and with 10 countries have already committed. We have taken the regional commitment to achieve at least 70% renewable energy in Latin America and the Caribbean by 2030, with 312 gigabytes of installed capacity and favoring the so-called conventional renewable energy. My invitation today is for more countries to join this target by 2030. For that, we are working jointly with Colombia in the creation of a roadmap that convenes the other countries of the region. Related to our response to COVID-19 pandemic, this health crisis caused by the spread of the COVID-19 obliged us to take several measures with the aim to protect our economies and our countries. First of all, we are immediately focused on securing the energy supply through the logistic chain in all sectors of the economy, always guaranteeing the health and safety of our workers. Secondly, in response for the economic financial impacts of the pandemic, we have implemented a contingency plan aimed at helping Chilean families with the payment of their bill energies during the state of disaster caused by COVID-19. Services attached to the payment default have been suspended and payment facilities have been granted. This plan benefits more than 3 million people, 3 million families, approximately 7 million people in Chile, which represent the 40 of low-income families in Chile, and also all the people that have some necessities produced by the pandemic can access to this plan. These measures would not have been possible without the commitment of the power utilities, exceptionally suspend the measurement of the peak hours during April and May of this year in order to support Chilean families' economic activity and employment. I would like to outline that this agreement shows that the public-private partnership are fundamental tools to face us as complex contingency at this health, economic, and social crisis. This should be the main guideline for Latin American governments to face our other complex challenge. Lastly, we are working on a short and mid-term package of measures aimed at providing a low-carbon economic stimulus to Chile that will encourage energy sector reactivation. These measures are based on 3 main axes. First, infrastructure. Incentive for the development of public and private investment in infrastructure. Second, human resource. Stimulus to the labor market through training and or certifications. And third, stimulus to consumption. Demand aggregation, policies, and mechanisms to encourage consumption. We are seeking to turn this pandemic crisis into opportunity so that the energy sector can move forward toward a cleaner, more sustainable, secure, and resilient model. Our agenda in response to the energy market have been drafted in the energy roadmap, which guides the energy policy of our government with an horizon to 2022. The roadmap has been compiled through a highly participatory process, which includes all the regions of the country and involves several sectors of the citizenships. It could be the best summarized by the motto to have a better energy for Chile. The Chilean government finds itself in the middle of its mandate. I believe this is a good moment to make a summary of the progress made and the challenges to come. I would like to share with you some of them. First, social challenge. The electricity price stabilization that we adopt a mechanism for the electricity that allows us to avoid the rise in the bills expected for the second semester of 2019 and freeze the rise until December 2021. The power utilities will initially assume the cost of the stabilization mechanism. Likewise, the latest biddings for the power generation presented lower prices due to the entry of the new actors in the segment, especially with regards to renewables. The expectation is that this price reduction will be reflected in the bills in the near future. With the stabilization mechanisms, the decrease in the prices that were expected for 2023 are brought forward so that the prices will remain fixed now instead of rising. And in the future, they will be compensated, taking advantage of the falls that come in the new contracts. Second one, the deep reform of the distribution sector. Short law and long law of distribution. The short law of power distribution represents a fundamental step to introduce transparency in the rate setting process. This law will have the effect to reduce for the first time the profitability of the distribution utilities which will reflect also a generalized reduction of the rates for the client. In addition, it will open the way to the law of distribution, which will be the deepest reform of the sector in the last 40 years. We will separate the distribution, which is naturally a monopoly, as you know, since there is no point in duplicating tables and costs, but we will open the market to the competition, as many other countries. The change that we are driving will introduce competition so that the Chileans can take advantage of the benefits of technological improvements. This big reform, which has been thought to improve the service for Chileans, will also enhance distributed generation. Improve access to energy, other important and key measure, is aligned with the commitment of the Sustainable Development Goals. I would like to underline that we are that we have improved the power supply for standalone systems. We work to ensure full ability in rural areas. We carry out various programs with renewable energy in several schools and nursing homes. We promote the integration of renewable energy in production activities on indigenous communities. Through the program called Ruta de la Luz, only in the last year we proceed the grant to power access to more than 2,600 families in the most remote areas of our country. The second challenge is the environmental challenge, that we are aware of the impact of the energy sector in fighting climate change. 78% of the greenhouse emissions of the country are generated by the energy sector. So this is a really important challenge we are facing. The decarbonization of the matrix by the 2040 achieve an unprecedented agreement with the power utilities aim to withdraw all the coal-fired plants of our energy matrix because 2040. This plan was voted during the COP25 in Madrid with the announcement of the advancement of the phase-out of 4 additional power plants. The decarbonization schedule foresees the withdrawal of 10 coal-fired units by 2024, which represent a quarter of the installed coal power generation capacity of our country, and the total shutdown of the coal-fired power generation by 2040. This plan, which positions Chile at the front of the international decarbonization effort, won't imply any cost for Chilean people and will allow to move forward faster towards a cleaner and cheaper power generation matrix. It will also favor the energy independence of the country because we will reduce the hydrocarbon imports. The carbon neutrality at the nation recently is an ambitious goal that involves collaborative work of both public and public sector. With this aim, in 2019, we developed a strategy of carbon neutrality, which includes detailed analysis of the measure of and their prioritization according to cost efficiency. Each measure has been studied in details in order to determine its costs and its contribution to emission abatement. The main focus of this plan is the withdrawal of coal-fired power plants, promotion of energy efficiency and electromobility, and industrial and residential sector decarbonization. We estimate that reaching this goal will bring large investment opportunities between 27,300 and 28,600 million by 2050. In addition to that plan, the plan also includes the creation of a new development hub for our country, green hydrogen, which could potentially be as important as the copper mining project. The Ministry of Energy is already developing a strategy and a future national hydrogen plan, which will contain the strategic guidelines to promote this key industry for carbon neutrality. The energy efficiency is also a key role because according to the International Energy Agency forecast, in order to achieve a sustainable scenario, almost 40% of the emissions reduced should come from an energy efficient program. For this reason, in 2019, we sent to the Congress the first bill of energy efficiency in the country. This law seeks to create the necessary incentive to promote the efficiency use of energy in the sector of main consumption, so that heavy industries, mining, transport, and buildings, but also to consolidate a stronger energy culture within the population. Third, the international challenge. Energy integration is key and have a very important role in all our schedule. And for that is that in the last year has been characterized by a significant rise of the gas exchange with Argentina, which represents 30% of the natural gas consumption in Chile. Both nations are committed to further deepening this exchange, which represents a clean energy alternative, especially for the southern area of our countries. In addition, in the last 2 years, we moved forward with the preparatory activities for the electrical interconnection with Argentina and Peru. The studies of the economic benefits of the dispatch, as well as the regulatory analysis carried out, will be useful as a starting point to reach the common target of a regional integrated power market. Instances like this, like we're having right now, is served to reflect how we are achieving great energy integration in the regional level. And to finalize, I want to say that the Ministry of Energy has a key role in the formulation of public policies, both managing the contingency of the pandemic that we are living now, but also facing the long-term challenge of this energy sector. Our current efforts is focusing on organizing the social, economics, and environmental challenges that face the energy sector. Together with the actions that I already described, we firmly believe in generation public-private partnership that will allow us to continue forward towards a cleaner and more efficient energy system with the access for all the Chileans. Many thanks, Javier.
No, thank you. That was a wonderful set of remarks, and I just confirmed with your team that we will be able to post the final version of those remarks on the virtual La Jolla conference platform. So for people who maybe didn't get a couple of numbers, while you were speaking, we will post a copy of those remarks. So we appreciate that. I also will tell you that you've already answered about half of the questions I had prepared for this intervention. We've been in our other panels obviously talking a lot about the role of or the impact of COVID-19 and how governments are responding to that. And in fact, in terms of government policies, in terms of interventions, in terms of fiscal stimulus. And so you've outlined several pieces of that. So let me actually ask you a couple things more specifically to elaborate on, and that's particularly regarding the electric sector. Chile has for many years had a very market-driven electric sector, and so a couple of the questions, and you talked a little bit about what you've done, but if you could elaborate, I'd like you to elaborate on this idea. In some of the other panels, we've talked about the disruption in payments, from the value chain on the electric sector, and given the extreme fiscal situation and sort of where Chile arrived into this pandemic and the impacts, what else are you doing besides the sort of detailed measure, the specific measures you mentioned, to make sure that the electric sector remains solvent, I guess is the key question here, and that the market participants and the government and the users and the consumers are not put in a situation of disruption and ultimately bankruptcies or contract breaches, those kinds of things. Sorry for a long-winded, but hopefully that makes sense. Basically elaborate a little bit on just how you're going to keep the lights on in Chile and make sure all the entire value chain continues in operation.
Thank you for the question, Jeremy. The chain of payment has a key role to allow that all the system continue operating. And for this reason, in Chile, the pandemic arrives in the late of March, and in the 27th of March, we announced an agreement with the President Piñera announced an agreement with the companies, energy companies, that allows to the people most affected for the pandemic. This will focus in the most vulnerable population, but also in the medium class of Chile, that also could have some problem because they lost the job. They are having problems to receive the incomes and all the problems that that are related with the pandemic. And these plans allows to the clients to postpone the payment of the bills until the pandemic ends. And then the bills that couldn't be paid on time will be divided in the next 12 months when the pandemic ends, or when the catastrophic state ends in Chile. This is what has a very good receiving the population of Chile, and the people is continue contacting the companies to be part of this program, and has the combination that allows that the companies and the people continue paying the bills if they are in capacity to pay the bills, but the people that have some problems can postpone the payment of the bills. And we are very firmly saying that all the people that don't have problem to pay the bills must continue paying, because this is a social system that we create, and it's based in that all the people that don't have problem to pay must pay, and it's focusing on the people that has some problems to pay the bills.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, no, I can only imagine how complicated. I mean, especially given the situation and, like you said, the way the pandemic arrived in Chile. There's a question. You talked a little bit about hydrogen, but maybe take a minute. We have a question about hydrogen, so spend a little bit more time talking about just what you see in terms of a potential role for hydrogen in Chile, if you don't mind, Mr. Vice Minister.
Yes. Hydrogen, green hydrogen is maybe you know, but it's produced with renewable energy, with green energy. So in Chile we have a lot of renewable energy, especially solar energy, and hydrogen in Chile have a great potential to be leader in developing and creating green hydrogen using the natural resources that have in Chile, water, and also we have a lot of renewable energy. So the combination put Chile in a very good place to be leader in this technology. For this reason, the ministry create a committee that will help to develop our roadmap in hydrogen, because Chile, maybe you know, but has a great in copper in mining, but also we are looking forward the next 50 years, and we think that in green hydrogen we have a lot of potential. Chile, if we go back 10 years ago, Chile was extremely dependent of oil and from imports from other countries, and also the energy came mainly for coal and all other or energetic that we import. But now we are looking in the future that we can be an energetic independent country, and also could be a country that can export energy in the future. So we are changing our methods, and also we are changing our dependence of the energy from other countries.
No, we all remember quite well, just exactly. And you talked about the timeline for retiring coal plants. So we all know quite well, which actually leads me to a short question, if you don't mind. I don't think I heard you talk much about ENAP. And I have to say, in many of our other sessions, we've talked a lot about the role of national oil companies. And indeed, we'll have on Thursday a whole panel looking at the outlook for Latin America's national oil companies. But maybe take a minute or two, and we are unfortunately running out of time, but spend a minute on the role of ENAP and where they fit in. I don't believe I heard them in your remarks. I'm curious just to understand the role of the national oil company in the future of Chile's energy sector.
Yes, it's important to remember that a couple of years ago, there has a law that changed the relation of ENAP with the Ministry of Energy. ENAP is a public company that not depends of directly from the military, but the INAP has a key role in the developing of these new technologies. The main role today of INAP is related to oil, to imports, and the process of the oil when it comes to Chile. But also, I think that INAP will have a very important role promoting all these green new technology, all new areas. The law that I mentioned recently also open the areas where INAP can make some investment. So I think that INAP has a very hard a goal, a very hard challenge in the future to change and to adapt also to with the change that we are having in the energy sector in Chile.
Perfect. So one final question, and I'll wrap up with my famous yes or no question. And the final question has to do with distributed energy resources and distributed generation. And again, I think you talked a little bit about one of the reforms and the regulatory structure. But spend a minute before we conclude here, just for some further details, elaboration on distributed generation in Chile.
Yes. In the next month, we want to send to the Congress of the Nation a bill that separate the roles in the distribution areas. And this has a very big opportunities to commercializer of energy, to be part also of the distribution, directly of the distribution sector. And the generated distribution also has very big spaces here, because the law will combine the possibility of that commercializes, includes, and be part of the process, but also will have spaces to or more space, or big spaces for generator energy. Also, I want to mention that we have made different and many challenges in the future. For example, in the south part of Chile, we have some problems, or big problems of contamination produced for wood. And also, we are facing and we are creating a plan to move from the wood to other kinds of energetic, like electricity, gas, and that has a lower level of contamination. So also there, in this area, we also have many investment opportunities that we will be announced in the next next month in our country.
Perfect. No, thank you very much. So the final question to wrap up here, I think I know the answer, but let's ask you the yes or no question. And then again, what we appreciate, and thanks so much to Federico and your international affairs team. It's been a pleasure to work with him. He's made this work so well. We will post your remarks here later today on the website. So the question, Mr. Vice Minister, is a yes or no question, and I'm interested. Are the key elements of the energy transition and economic recovery mutually beneficial? Yes or no?
Yes. I think that as I mentioned, the energy has a key role in the reactivation, has a key role in create job and allow that more investment come to Chile. So I think that energy will be has I mentioned, a key role in the reactivation and in creating more projects. We have several projects in different stages of improvement or construction in Chile, and I think it has a key role. Yes.
I would say that that's a yes with a couple of exclamation marks. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Minister of Energy at the Chilean Ministry of Energy, Francisco Javier Lopez. It's been a sincere pleasure. Thank you for joining us in the virtual La Jolla conference. We hope to see you and your colleagues here, actually in person in La Jolla next year. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. We're going to move over to our next session with the chairman of YPF. So I'm going to close this session, and please come on over to the YPF speech. Thank you again, Mr. Vice Minister. Bye-bye.